Hi, I'm with Dennis Gilmore today. Today we're going to be talking about quite a few things. Dennis, would you like to talk about yourself for a few seconds here?
Yeah, well, we did a video about a year and a half ago, and I just
Mhm.
talked about my idea of the Truman Matrix, was how we started off. People seemed to like that, and it's sort of like the Truman Show, where Jim Carrey was a one character and everything was an illusion around him. And I call it the Truman Matrix because it's also a matrixy, but there's overlap, right? Because even in the Matrix, Morpheus told Neo, "Your body is residual self-image, the mental projection of your digital self." They weren't there; they were just all an illusion, yet there's overlap, and they were in the real world. They're able to communicate in their own kind of world, yet there's a shared overlap as well. And then we just sort of went spontaneously all over the place. Haven't talked to you in a while. It'd be interesting to catch up, see what new ways you have to explain your understandings.
Okay, so basically, I've done a few videos with other people. A lot of information has been coming out, and actually, things are starting to combine to come together about this reality. One of the main things I have discovered is along with other things, is the human body is going through an ascension. We hit a point where we are now going through an ascension. It started in 2017. 2012 was the initial turnover, but in 2017, we started the countdown of the body ascending. Our bodies take 7 years to self replicate everything, and your body gets replicated on a cellular level. It takes 7 full years. That's your eyes, your organs, your bone, your flesh, your blood. Everything gets 7 years and it fully replicates itself. Well, I found that in this ascension cycle, things have started changing in the human body. We no longer have our kidneys down in our lower back. Remember, kickboxing and boxing, you could never do below the belt because of your kidneys.
Yeah.
Our kidneys are now halfway up into our rib cages, and that is just one of hundreds of changes inside of our body. We used to have our spleen a certain size, and now it has doubled in size. Our liver has doubled in size. Our entire skeleton, our head, has changed. Remember when you used to see skeletons and they had big holes when there's nothing on the skeletal head? Now they'll have filled in, and there's a tiny little bitty hole right where the eye would go for the nerve to go through. That has also changed. So through this ascension, our bodies are changing because we're becoming something that we once were a long time ago. The human being had actually been a hermaphrodite when it first started out, which means half male, half female. And we had been chimerid, which means made into a cryptid, which is why we have two brains, a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. One is male, logic, and the other is female, the creator, the emotion, the mover. And we also have a mammalian brain and a reptilian brain on the bottom of our, skull. The reptilian brain was put in with the mammalian as the chimera. Along with the reptilian brain come adrenals. The adrenals are on top of your kidneys, and it keeps you in a state of, fight or flight. It's a system to keep you perpetually motivated to be in fear, basically. Fight or flight, those are both fear states to be in. So what's happening is, since we were chimera made into a cryptid, after a while, the rubber band, it's like having a rubber band, and it gets stretched, and it hits a point where it can't stretch anymore. And the mRNA and DNA, boom, hit this point and go back into its original state. Well, that is our ascension. This is why human beings have hit that rubber band, can't go any further state, and we're starting to go back into. What do you do to a cryptid to keep it under lock and key when you know physical chains won't keep it there? You give it a chakra system. That way, it doesn't run in its full rainbow energy body on 5D. We were literally dropped from 5D to 3D. And when the chakra system comes down, all of a sudden, These chakras are connected to different parts of your brain. And now you have, instead of 7% of your brain, you're using 10 or 15 or 20 as time goes by. So every 7 years, your body is physically changing inside first, and then eventually outside.
Yeah,
So we're in the first stages.
because
Go ahead.
if your body's residual self-image, like Morpheus told Neo, right? It's really your consciousness that changes because your body is just another energy component of your consciousness. So if your consciousness is changing, frequency and whatnot,
Yeah.
then it pushes out, makes changes in the body, right? Makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When we were made into a chimera, one of the reasons they changed our brain into a left and right hemisphere was to keep us completely off balance. When they took us from what we were initially, which was half male, half female, we had the exact amount of testosterone and estrogen, and we had almost a zero libido. We were very high. We were
How did
5D
you
high.
reproduce then? You just sort of reproduce yourself like a cell splitting?
No,
Going?
no, no, it isn't like that. You would still have a partner because you want the genetic mix. You still need a genetic mix because you might be born with sperm and eggs, but that's a dead end if you don't have a genetic mix. So you would have a partner. But the thing of it is, with that, you also lived 1,000+ years because not only did they take down male and female, they took down how long they put a component in to age you. So we're aging out at 100 when we should live to 1,000. We're all children dying. I mean, it's terrible. So that's another thing they put in. Just like this last thing that they distributed in 2021 to North and South America, there was an aging component put in that also. And there was a sterilization put in that, a horse sterilization. So what would you do if you're living in a simulated reality and you don't want your energy beings breaking the web, the net, because their bodies are changing, their concepts and their being is changing, their thought is changing.
How much of that is through the internet and this communication we're doing, the videos go out, or people can just do this individually connecting to the field themselves? Like not everyone has strong psychic or abilities or remote viewing like you. So how is your average person going to be able to do this? How much of this do they need to know personally, or can pick it up through videos and stuff?
You can pick it up through videos, but it's more than that. You could know absolutely zero. Let me put this in perspective. Zero. I'm out in the middle of the woods. I have no internet. I don't even know people. Maybe I'm out in the middle of the jungle and I'm wearing a loincloth and I don't know anything. This this ascension isn't based on knowledge, it's based on frequency. Do you know Anubis in the mythology, which should be archaeology? He's always going to weigh your heart and the feather, and the heart and the feather represent frequencies. The feather represents 9-dimensional frequency. The heart represents the frequency you're on. And so it doesn't matter if you know anything or not. It matters about the frequency you carry inside of you. Are you able to rob people? Are you capable of murder? This is the frequencies I'm talking about. Are you able to do things that would be morally incompatible with higher frequencies? So this isn't about knowledge. You could be as dumb as a box of rocks. This has nothing to do with knowledge. It has to do with frequency. It's a frequency net that keeps us in here. You can know everything. Okay, think about this. All of the elites and the transhumanists have most of the knowledge, yet they're going nowhere because where is their frequency lying? It's not about the knowledge. It's about the frequency you carry.
But they also indoctrinate the education system, and they get us all into false
Oh,
belief
yeah.
and all kinds of fear that keep you down, suppressed, repressed. So it's very hard to raise your frequency given the environment that we're raised in and we're indoctrinated from birth. So
Well,
certain amount of knowledge you have to get to sort of, I don't know, raise your spirits or your frequency a bit. Like knowledge kind of comes in there a bit, you would say, wouldn't you say?
yeah, my biggest thing is when I say raise your frequency, because I tell everybody raise your frequency, it only means one thing: stay out of fear. When you stay out of fear, you naturally raise your frequency. You don't have to do anything. You have a choice to react to any given situation or not. A lot of times when stuff is always being thrown at us, because it's thrown at me too, stuff is thrown at me, I'll do this. Oh, that's my best friend's problem. Let me try to get a partial solution. I'm not reacting to any of this. This isn't even my problem. This is your problem. I'm going to try to help you with it. A solution or a partial solution. After I get this, then I'll step into it. Oh, yeah, that's really my problem. And then I'll deal with it. And if I need to scream, cry, yell, whatever, then I'll do it. But then I have to release it. This is also how you raise your frequency. You don't stay in the state of fear. That's all you have to do. Stop fearing the unknown. Stop overreacting on every scenario. Who's telling you? Because we got things around us all the time. We can't see them because they're out of our spectrum of sight. And they're sitting there. Oh, it's going to be so bad. It's so horrible. It's the end of the world. Yeah. You might as well kill yourself now. Yeah. And say, you know what? Tomorrow's another day, whatever. It is.
That's the drawback of the social media and the videos and stuff, because you can get into a lot of fear. I mean, in my immediate city I'm in, there's not, bombs aren't flying. There's not tanks going through the street. And so if you just stayed off the damn computer, you'd raise your frequency naturally, right?
Yeah, you just naturally, this is not something you have to work at. This is just something you have to, I'm not saying ignore the world, but you need to take time every day where you are outside and away from cyber world. I do it all the time. I work in cyber world, but I take time out of cyber world. I tackle the toughest things that come our way. But you know what? I won't let it get me down because I'm not going into that state of fear. Yes, I acknowledge this has been done. Yes, I know this has been done. Let's look for solutions. This is how you raise your frequency. Stay out of fear. Do not let those adrenal glands run you.
So that would just be if your body's just residual self-image comes off your consciousness and it creates an energy body, that the adrenals even and all the stuff that the cryptids you say and the combining of genetics ultimately is sort of like the messing with your consciousness, combining of consciousness strands with other, and then it manifests as adrenals and stuff, you would say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the next thing. When you come into this reality and you're in any avatar, my God, they're already pre-programmed. The day you're born, the hour you're born, the month you're born, I call it ghosts in the genes. Every single person that was before this avatar that helped create this avatar have memories that are stored in DNA. Those are a part of our program also. And don't forget, we keep getting recycled in this incarnation system. So you might be bringing over baggage from other realities.
Yeah, it gets pretty complicated because if we only use a small part of our brain and our conscious mind, like our subconscious mind is so much larger and faster.
Yes, it is.
How do you access that? Like not everyone can just sort of access it, right?
I have found a way to access the subconscious, and I tell everybody how to do it because we have every right to everything we've ever been. These bodies are created where only 1% of who you really are come through. It's there, but we can't reach it. It's like in another room and the door's locked. So I found that your left and right hemisphere are running on different frequencies, done intentionally, so you don't become a unit. All you have to do is put music in the background with no words. It's got to have to be instrumental. So you put music in the background. The next thing you're going to do is U-M or O-M. So U-M goes inside to achieve anything inside of your library. O-M goes outside to achieve anything outside of here through the Akashic records, outside or inside. So U-M is, like when you were a kid, someone would ask you a question, you'd be like,
Yeah, okay.
What happens is when you do either one of those, you are vibrating the palate on the inside of your mouth. That sends a signal to your pineal gland to activate. It's either going to be going out or it's going to be going in. You tell it which way to go. Or O-M. U-M inside. Yep. Or Om. or om. And
Okay.
then the next thing is one more little thing. So you got music in the background. You're going to go or um, and you're going to be thinking only. What do you want to know? I want to know this. It's like a mantra. I want to know this and think about it. Think about it while doing this with music in the background. You can do this off and on all day long. The more you do it, it's like riding a bike. The next thing you know, all kinds of information just starts coming to you because you're tapping into inside of you or outside of you. I'd rather tap inside of me because I can trust me, because outside of me, there's all kinds of stuff. We don't know what's out
Right.
there.
Hard to even know, like, if it's all projection, ultimately, like there's symbolic metaphor,
Mm-hmm.
metaphor, symbolic truth you can get from the things going on in the world or immediate environment, and you kind of have to decode it. This is how I think anyway, and it kind of internalize it can have a special meaning to me. And I'll sometimes write on my websites a fictional story or something, because I used to get a lot from fiction. Star Trek, that they had that idea too with the holodeck, and the article I
Oh
sent.
yeah, that holodeck that's just disclosure.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like the nature of reality, right? Picard, in that episode I sent you, the inner light. We spent a whole other lifetime growing old in a whole different reality where he thought he was a different guy.
Mhm.
Came to thought he didn't think he was Kamen. Picard. He knew he was Picard, but he forgot because he's trapped on this planet so long. It was just all fake in the end. In his old age, it was revealed it was just a program so he would live this societies and remember them and take it back to the Federation. Fascinating idea. So he gets to go back as Picard and in his sort of young body, 40 or 45, whenever, back being the captain of the Enterprise. And it's like that. Our whole reality, our whole life here is like a simulated reality, different memories. And we go back, hopefully. Like, if you want to think of it in that terms, I've heard so many analogies, gaming analogies, this episode of Star Trek. But I can't help but think there's lots of serious stuff going on here too. And there's a reason we're here, and there's a mission, and to get out. Like, are we like the Avengers? We're going to have to combine all our superpowers in the end and battle our way out of here in the end. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I know with this ascension happening and these avatars changing, which is changing our consciousness because it's allowing us to tap into who we really are. You have clairs, you have 8 clairs. And I have the clairs written down right here. We have clairvoyant, which is clear seeing. We have claircognizance, which is clear knowing when you just know stuff. Clairaudience is hearing. Clairsentient is feeling. Clairalliance is smelling. Clairgustance is tasting. Clairempathy is feeling into people. And clairtendency, which is where you can touch objects or go into a room and just stuff will come in. We all have these clairs, but what's the percentage? So with this ascension happening, with the chakras coming down and those parts of your brain actually starting to function again, these clairs go off the scale. There will come a time halfway through this ascension where we're levitating off the floor, where we can see through dimensions. Some of us are starting to have these things now where we can use our own chi energy and push items because of the chakras coming down. It's allowing we have 3 brains. We have a brain, we have a heart brain, which is your biggest brain, and we have a gut brain. These are medically found to be real brains. So I call it the Trinity. So in the Matrix, when he's always running after Trinity, it was never a woman, it's himself, his own Trinity. And what's happening is those have been severed. Your Trinity has been severed. Men are told, don't cry. And women are told, oh, you're just too emotional. We have to balance and listen to our Trinity. Normally, when something happens, we walk into a room and we see someone and we're like, no, get away from me. Basically, at that point, our brain will override our gut or our heart. And what we need to do is learn balance. Everything is balance. When you balance, you stay out of fear. Your brain works perfectly and those chakras come down faster. The big thing is we want those chakras coming down as fast as they can, but we've got to stay in balance.
Hmm. So, So I don't know. It's hard to predict the future, but what do you predict for the future? Because I know, RKX, he says in 14 years there's going to be a cataclysm and a worldwide reset. He's got so much data that would lead him to, because of mathematical precision of the resets. He's very convinced that will happen. Very hard to predict the
Well,
future. Things can change, and it's infinite possibility, as David Icke says, that may not happen. Like he's so firm that it will. What's your
I'm
ideas
gonna
of the future?
I'm gonna tell you something, and everyone who's on my channel knows this. In 2012, our world ended as we know it. We had red skies come in. Um, I do talk about this a little bit, and I've talked about it more a couple of years ago, but this is when, in 2012, our world as we know it ended, our consciousness changed, and we started with this ascension. All of a sudden, now we have and have been having Mandela effects. So basically, when we came into this construct, we were shattered as energy beings. You can shatter us, no problem. Shatter our consciousness. What's happening is we're pulling back together like Humpty Dumpty. And when I see the future coming, which is already there, it's like in this construct, it's like a circle turned over on itself. You have that figure eight, and where it crosses is the now point you are experiencing. It's all happening now. But what are you experiencing? So you can look ahead or you can look behind, because only here is everything linear. So when I saw that our world ended in 2012, and it wasn't anything to do with K2, whatever crap, no, it was to do about this construct, about this reality. I saw so many things happening. I saw people, when this happened, it was like flashes of light. We're in something called a dome, and most people have no idea that that's a holographic sky above us. This is a simulation. That's a holographic sky, and we're in a dome. And that dome opened, and when it did, a white, bright flash happened, and everybody, I don't care if you were in your house, who was on top of the ground, and because there's stuff under the ground, went blind for a few minutes. And think about people on highways, and you're driving and now you're blind.
Wow.
Crashes. Oh my God, so many people died on 95 and other whatever, and
Or an airplane
doing
pilot,
whatever.
he's flying a plane, and if you get, he'll crash. Well, I
Yeah,
guess airplanes, they got so many automated systems.
as long as it's automated, the only thing you need to do is land and take off. Other than that, it's automated. But a lot of people did die. I know that my daughter in 2017, one day, because what happened, they gathered up most of humanity that could make this transition if you had a frequency. The way this construct is designed is it's on a spiral, and the spiral goes up. So 3D is like this, but it's on a spiral. So there's quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each one of these dimensions carries 12 densities, and each one of these dimensions has 4 quadrants. It's really weird how it's designed. So 3 densities in 1, and in 2, and in 3, and in 4 to make a 12. So in 2012, if your consciousness could make quadrant 4, which is where we are now, which is why nothing is the same, and it doesn't even feel real anymore, and time is just boom going by so fast because of this ascension. Which I can also say the reason time is speeding up is because we are the Schumann frequency, and we are ascending, causing time to go faster. It's not out there, it's because of us. So I know this is a lot of information. It's just so packed with information. So now we're over in quadrant 4, and all of a sudden our bodies are changing. You could go to a doctor now and say, "Where's your kidneys, man?" And they'll be like, "Well, in your rib cage, they've always been there." Yet we know damn well they were never there.
And the doctor would, it's like Mandela, he would be no the wiser. He had memories of being taught in medical school.
That's
Kidneys
right.
have always been in your in
In
your
the rib cage. Don't you know our kidneys have always been hanging out in our rib cage? No, they haven't.
So if we're in quadrant 4, like, is it possible to be in quadrant 3 and talking to you in
Yes,
quadrant 4?
yes, You can be in quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. You as an individual, when you come over, if you were the initial that came over in 2017, we're no longer in quadrant 3. There are people, because you break down to nothing but consciousness, and these are just avatars, that are hopping between 3 and 4. Some days you can talk to them and they're on board. And then the next day you talk to them, they're like, what the hell? Who are you? What? I don't know. I don't get it. Leave me alone. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Because when the avatar is just running and the energy being has gone back to 3, that is an NPC program running off your third quadrant reality. When they come back in, and if they stay, they are who they are, period. You can tell when there's people that are hopping back and forth because of have a conversation with them. And it's like, whoa, your body is here, but you aren't. No one's home today.
I've noticed that too. Like, I'll ask somebody a question, they seem to say something a little out of character. So, and then in the next day I ask them, hey, we had that conversation. Do you remember saying that? And they don't remember. It's like,
Yeah, that's right.
I have no idea what you're
That's
talking
right.
about.
That's because back in quadrant 3, 2026 is the biggest year of all those NPCs coming into an NPC. They're not NPCs. They're real energy beings there. They're energy being coming into these avatars, and they'll no longer be NPCs. When this was distributed, they tried to kill as many of the avatars off as they could. It wasn't allowed. They did kill off a lot, but not all of them, because those bodies have to be waiting for them when the true consciousness decides to come over. If they can come over, they have to meet a frequency to be here. You have to be on a certain frequency to be here. Then the next thing is you could be on the frequency and you still don't come over because you don't want to leave quadrant 3. There's a huge difference between quadrant 3. Think of what life used to be like in 2020. No, not 20, 2002 or 2001. That is what quadrant 3 is like. Quadrant 4, this is a whole new ball game where lies will not hold, where you will see everything. Because if you're going to ascend, you can't stay stupid. You won't be staying stupid.
Yeah, since 2020 for sure. Like, that's when I started building my websites. I got there on the screen, redpilltruth.com. That's got quite a few websites and Substack links and whatnot. But that's when I started researching, investigating, building my websites, and kind of waking up, as they say, right? And the lies dropping off. But still, I'll meet people who have no clue and no interest. It's like total NPC. I have no idea
Are they
what
just
they're talking
are
about.
they just programs walking? NPCs, non-player characters.
Yeah.
Most people are NPCs. Their true energy being did not make this leap yet, or they're going back and forth.
Back and forth, yeah. Because sometimes they'll engage a little bit. They seem kind of there, but not interested enough to go. If you don't reinforce it, go research it and confirm it yourself. It's not going to stick in your consciousness. You'll just eventually say, oh, that was just crazy talk. Yeah, I'm probably just, the doubts creep in and they forget about it, right?
Yeah, because their program's running. They're like a record. You know the old black vinyl records, and you can get a scratch in it, and you can get to a certain point, and then it just hops back to the beginning. That's an NPC program running. They will not learn. They cannot. They're on a program running. These avatars are programmed from you from quadrant 3. How can a program learn when it doesn't have the energy being to have the learning? It is literally a small shelved program. It's only running, waiting for the energy being to come over. If the energy being does not come over, eventually the program will just leave. The people that come over, the beings that come over, land in their avatars, it will speed up their ascension. So all the NPCs, the non-player characters, because their energy being is not here, they are holding all of the chakras still. They have the chakras. Yeah. It takes an energy being to get those.
Boom. Okay, sorry folks, a little bit of a technical glitch there. We got cut off here, but we're back and now we got the two views side by side so you can see both Sonja and myself. And you were talking about chakras and you were going to say something. Do you remember?
I was, oh my goodness. Yeah, we were cut off for a while. I think I was talking about the chakra system coming down and you getting all of your clairs online, which we all have a percentage of it. But as we start to ascend with our mitochondria staying on longer, and we're looking for this mitochondria to do a flip, which is that flash. Everyone's talking about this solar flash is coming to change us. It was never outside. It was always an inside job.
Right.
So that's what we're looking, what's going to happen to us becoming Homo luminous versus Homo sapien sapien.
Homo luminous. Yeah, I've heard you say, and then Homo Borg is the other possibility. What's that going to be like?
Homo Borg, we're having a timeline split also. So we're having two branches of a timeline. One of the branches is going to go to Homo Borg. Todd Callender coined it Homo Borg something. I can't remember. Homo Borg something. And Homo luminous has been what everyone else is talking about. So, and I do see that because we'll be, with the mitochondria staying on, we'll be luminous, just like, think of the things in the ocean or snails or certain things. Think of fireflies that have that luminosity. That will be us, because our mitochondria is what we're actually comprised of initially. Before we had the fall from 5D, we were luminous, very luminous, and we weren't solid. So right now in 3D, we're like this, we're solid. So this is what we're going to become. And with the mitochondria coming on and staying on, our bodies are completely changing. We won't eat like we do anymore. We'll be living on a more luminous liquid, which we don't know about right now. We won't have the body hair that we have. We are changing everything. Our cellular structure, our skeletal frame, and all of our organs are changing. We're even developing a third organ in our brain so that our trinity is connected. Right now we have the pineal, the pituitary, and the third one that's starting to develop. And these three will actually pull the trinity together to create the rainbow body that those Tibetan monks desperately wanted to have, but they kept frying their bodies. That's why they shrunk up and burnt up, because they still had a chakra system on. And until that chakra system comes off, you can't achieve the rainbow body. The rainbow body is that your frequencies are now running inside of your toroidal field, which is around you. Everybody has a biofield. This biofield is huge. You don't even fit into your avatar. That's why you have a biofield. And this is all of the frequencies that comprise you. This is the true rainbow body.
So how much in one of these periods of 7 years, how much progress do you have to make in, like, do you see like outward these manifestations?
Oh, I see. Yeah, even after the first 7 years, which we've already passed, 2017 was the beginning of the 7 years. So even we're past that now. We passed it already. And now we're in the second 7 years. I already see the biggest thing is inside of the body is changing. Not everyone's heart is in the middle, but the ones that went through the first 7 years, their heart's in the middle. Their kidneys are up in their rib cage. A lot of stuff has to change inside first with the organs. Our eyes have cones and rods for a reason. When we hit stage number 3, those cones and rods are connected to our biofield, which creates a toroidal field, which is just like anti-gravity. Dragonflies, bees, beetles have it in their wings with cones and rods. When they do this and they move, they create a field, okay? We have it in our eyes. What happens is, once some of the chakras come down, especially all your head chakras, and then your lower chakra, your bottom root chakra comes down, you then have the ability to use the cones and rods in your eyes connected to your brain, your heart, and your gut. And all you have to do is think. That's it. Just a thought. Thought becomes the motion, the mover. Thought becomes the creator. That's where you start manifesting. You can start manifesting now out of the ether with the very first 7 years, because that's been unlocked. This is where you can do manifestations of your reality or physical manifestations. I want a cup of coffee. Boom, there's a cup.
Yeah.
I want some cookies.
Yeah, the
Oh,
physical manifestation, the cup you're saying, like so many people are like, oh, we need to get Trump in there. We need to change the system,
no.
make a better system. How much of that kind of outward physical work is necessary? Because that's just a distraction. You change your consciousness,
It's,
it's going to change things. Like if you change the whole government system, it's not going to really
no.
do much.
No, here's the thing. All of that stuff outside of us is the distraction. There is no Superman coming in to save you. This is a personal inside job. No one is going to do it for you. Not Superman, not Trump, not anyone. Trump's a psyop anyway. The whole federal government's a psyop. All governments are a psyop. But regardless, this is an inside job, has nothing to do with what's out there. When you start changing this is where you hold 5D first. This starts to catch up behind this. This must go first. Then this catches up. This pushes this into 5D, which is the mitochondria beginning to flip and stay on longer.
Because you were talking about
Mhm.
Rudolf Steiner earlier. I don't know too much about Steiner, but apparently he predicted that there would be some sort of injection that would start to disconnect the soul, the person from the
Yeah,
soul, and
you're
totally
right
disconnect.
now, and yeah, right now in these avatars, this is what I see. We're in a simulated reality. There's only two things that can control this avatar. Well, make it basically work. One, God's source connection, which we have. We have it because we are fractals of God's source. We are gods,
Right.
small g's. We are gods, all in the right. We are going to become bigger gods because of this ascension when there's nothing holding us down anymore. We're no longer chained. Okay. And then we have AI. Now we got the Borg. You're either connected through Borg for this avatar or you are connected through source for this avatar. Your choice.
So
Make the
that
choice.
that they gave us would influence the disconnect from your higher source, from your
Oh,
soul, and you're going to be more tempted to if they can put in implants and become like you're saying Borg. If somebody like, oh yeah,
yeah.
I want to merge with my technology, I want to put chips in my brain. I saw
They
some
don't have
video
to
where
worry
someone put a
about.
chip in his brain. I mean, okay,
Here's
you not
the
really
crazy thing, Dennis. When they gave this, those were the chips. They have Pico technology that was in there that created nano self-replicating technology. And then here comes the hydrogel and everything that they're putting in your water. They're spraying it on you. This never had to be a chip. It was on a Pico. Pico means I could have 100 billion nanotechnologies on the tip of a needle.
wow. How
You
can
never needed a chip. They build that crap in. When we're being sprayed with strontium, aluminum, what have you, that's the building materials. That'll pass right through your skin. Those nanotechnologies can grab it and self-replicate. Most people now have motherboards inside of them.
uh,
They're walking technology.
but in Star Trek on the Borg, like no matter how much you might try to resist, you couldn't. They would inject you with Borg nanoprobes, and you would just become a Borg no matter how much you tried to muscle. Like, so how does somebody? Can you do it through consciousness alone and meditation alone? You need some help, right?
Frequency. Okay, so this AI frequency cannot exist. It doesn't run. It doesn't have the frequency to run on 5D. When I said you got to go to 5D here first, and 5D here is balance, stay out of fear. You rock it up, and it puts you at a very level state. AI technology doesn't work in 5D. It only works in 3D, but they need to net you to keep you down into 3D so that you don't rise above it and all the technology that's inside of you is pointless because you'll rise above it. When your body starts changing through this ascension, you literally change your body and leave. It's like you walk out of your body. You don't really walk out of your body. You change so much that the AI can't sustain inside of you. You can move and the AI is left over here. Do you understand?
Hmm. I was just thinking of there's a compound called lye. I think it's sodium hydroxide. You mix it in water, it warms up the water, it becomes molecularly bonded to the water, right? And then you put it
Mhm.
in, they put them in these aquacare machines, or like their hydrolyzer, and it splits the hydrogen and oxygen up, and you can breathe. They call it Brown's gas. So, but
Mhm.
to fill this tank up, you just put more water in because it's only the water that like kind of separates and goes off into the gas, right? The
Yep.
lye stays molecularly bonded, right? So you're saying as
Mhm.
a it's like electrolyzing. The water is what splits off. You can't, even though you got this gunk in you, the lye stays
Mhm.
bonded to the water, but it can become split if it
Right.
goes up.
That's right. That's why this shot and the AI is such it's like, it's so ridiculous because we're talking about a whole being, an energy being changing its physical shell, its physical body to the point where AI is unsustainable. You can't stick AI into something that's not solid 3D. It just, there's nothing to attach to. You can literally move and all of the AI will stay here and you can walk outside of it. And there it is in your form. Boom, to the ground it goes. Yeah, no.
You just become something different. Like you split the hydrogen oxygen, comes down something different. So but it's still going to have a, difficult impact if you've taken those and you take more. Like if, like
Yeah,
how much traditional work? So activism and trying to change the government, that's a waste of time. But you're
that's a
doing
waste
videos
of
and stuff,
time.
reaching people, but
If you knew how deep it was, Dennis, it's what's running this snow globe. My God, they've been running and been in control of this snow globe for a very long time. They just celebrated their 250 years of conquering. They get us to celebrate us losing. When we celebrate the 4th of July, we lost. That's why we have a birth certificate. That's why we're the commodity. We lost.
well, that came later,
They
100 years
celebrate
later, I
our
think.
loss.
After 1776, it still took time. And there was like a temporary kind of victory. It could have gone a different way, but
Yeah,
they've now assimilated kind of, you want to use that technology, or
yeah,
the whole world is influenced by America and controlled by them, right?
yeah. I mean, it's so bad that all the governments, you think they're separate governments. There's them and there's us. That's it.
Yeah.
There's them and there's us, and we're not them.
Yeah. Yeah. I often think, I mean, you can still get the COVID injection anywhere in the world that you want to. No one's been held account. It hasn't been pulled from the market, and all the countries
Nope.
are the same. You can get it everywhere. So I often think, well, obviously they're all working together. Like you say, it's them versus the masses, the us. How can you say there's an imaginary line here I can cross, and that's a different country? They're all working together because you can still get it
They're
anywhere.
all working together. There's two things working together. Okay, we've got the transhumanists, which is one coin side of the coin, and then we got the gangster banksters, the 15 families, which are, they say there's 13, but there's 15. That's your Lee running China, and that's your Rockefellers, your Rothschilds, your Vanderbilts, your Chase, your DuPonts, and then it goes on and on. They're actually in a war together, and we're caught in the middle. Transhumanists, families. Families don't want to be transhumanists because that means the transhumanists run everything. And the families and the transhumanists are now so bad trying to rat each other out. This is why we've got the Epstein files. This is why we got the data centers, all the crap that's come out on the data centers. The data centers have something called infrasound. The infrasound is based on 2D, two-dimensional, and it's so low, it shatters and kills everything, animals, plants, and people. And why they're running to get data centers all over the whole world by the millions is because they're getting ready. They want to, when I said we were dropped from 5D to 3D, those data centers through the infrasound is going to tap into the World Wide Web and the ley lines to drop us into 2D to further enslave us. And now it's going to be your Borg because we're not going there, the ones that are ascending. That's what the data centers are really for. They're not for anything but dropping us into 2D because of what's running us. They don't want to lose us. We're their energy source. This place doesn't render without us. We are true 0 point energy beings. We are the true 0 point energy. And without us, they need to do something.
So they'll just be dissolved entirely, become just
No,
energy
they'll drop
dissipated.
they'll drop to 2D, whether we come or not. They'll try to catch as many as they can because we're the batteries. And what they'll do is when you go to 2D, They'll shrink everything down again because we always keep getting shrunk. They'll shrink us down and they'll reserve the energy that they've already collected. They've been collecting our energy for a very long time. They put it into, it's another thing these data centers do. Have you ever heard of the Philadelphia experiment?
Yeah. Saw a movie about that.
When they did the Philadelphia experiment, that was all Tesla technology. Okay. They gave all the credit to the other guy. But anyway, that's when they solidified bringing everything down into 2D. That experiment was the first experiment, the first data center experiment. That's what that really was about. It wasn't about anything else. And now that they've perfected it, that's why the data centers are coming up without checks, without balances, without anybody knowing behind everyone's back, and nothing's going to stop it. If you lose all your water, if you lose all your electric, too bad. These data centers are the only thing that matters. And it has nothing to do with what we're told. It's got to do with creating the 2D drop through the infrasound.
Theoretically, though, if you could get all the 0 point energy beings out, what would happen to them?
Well, the 0 point energy beings would leave, either go up inside of the simulated reality, because there are 9 dimensions, or go out of this construct completely. This place doesn't render without energy. It's not self-sustaining.
So if they don't have that energy, they don't have us, then what happens? They just cease to exist.
Down.
What's
It
that?
shuts down.
It shuts
It would
down.
shut down. Shuts down. I would just take and pull the plug. You will no longer have energy. There's no difference. I've just pulled your plug. Oh, your computer's not working. Nothing's working. I took all of your electric away, all of your energy.
Right, because the AI is like, it's a computer program. You take away the electricity, it's dead, it's gone, right? If we're likened to be that 0 point energy, we're the electricity. Turn the electricity off. AI, the whole construct is your computer. Screen's gone, it's done. Go back to true reality.
The big thing is, with all the distractions going on, you have to wonder, what are they doing? All of a sudden, there's UFO exposure. The government admits there's UFOs. Oh, stop it. There's always been a bunch of beings here. But if I can get you focused over here on UFOs, you're not going to see the data centers. Nah. Stop paying attention to the data centers. Stop it.
Yeah, and the data centers and all the cameras and all the AI and all the tracking they can do everywhere you go. There's nothing private anymore. I heard they can track a single individual by your heartbeat anywhere in the world, so you can't hide.
Right? They've been, Dennis, they've been able to do this for the last 50 years. We just didn't get to know about it. This web we think we have that's just so new and recent in the last 20, 30 years, nah, the web goes back to the beginning. The technology goes back to the beginning of this schematic. We're talking before any of the resets, when there was no water in here like that. And we have huge epicenters all over the bottom of the oceans that there didn't used to be oceans in here like that. That's why we have pyramidal systems, epicenters, and all of the cables and stuff like this that have been there forever, almost since the beginning. They didn't rust. They're under all this pressure. They're still there. We were given the ability to have the internet of all things, only so that they could use it against us. The very top of the iceberg, the whole bottom, the dark web, it's always been there. It's always been there. It's been manipulated. You don't think somebody actually laid down lines in the 1800s and they're rust free, and with all the technology constantly changing, those lines haven't been outdated. I mean, my God, doesn't take a genius to figure this out. They couldn't even lay that kind. I mean, the whole bottom under the ocean is just like the top. You've got mountains, you've got trenches. What about the Marianas Trench? Oh my God, you don't have enough cable.
Yeah. Yeah, a
lot. And they did it in the 1800s without the so-called equipment to even make this high copper steel ratio saltwater sea proof pressure proof. It's hilarious.
So if they've had all this technology for so long, then it's just part of our conditioning us to like roll it out. So we have computers,
Wow.
we have internet, we have cameras, and we get conditioned rather than
Yeah.
they've always been doing that for hundreds of years anyway.
Yeah. Thousands of years. And our history is such a lie. We were never caveman. We were never hunter gatherer anything. We started off as high technology.
Yeah.
We were brought down from 5D. We didn't start off as anything. That whole thing about what is that? Where you change over thousands of years. They say it for animals and insects and people. We've Darwin. Darwin was made up.
Yeah.
The only thing they do have is a chemistry lab, and they can chimera. That is true. They do it today. They chimera all the time,
Yeah.
making cryptids all the time. You would know the cryptids that they've made already.
Yeah. Hmm.
Genetic modification.
Genetic modifications. Hmm. Yeah,
And
that's
then we'll call it Darwinism.
what's that?
I said, and then we will call it Darwinism.
Yeah. Such a goofy idea. Yeah.
Stupid.
But the
It's
whole
rather
system, if you
stupid.
question it, that's the problem. They got control of the schools and the whole education, university system. You question it, you're out of here. You're a religious fanatic. You're out of here. That's how they control them,
Mhm.
right? It's all
Yeah.
controlled ultimately by that symbol of energy called money, money, money. If you're not going to survive, people have got fear. Where am I going to get my food from, right? So you cowtail the line because you want to make money. And it's
Yeah.
just a mass control system, but now they're going to digitize it all. And now it's all probably going to end up being crypto in the end. They're going to replace the whole financial system.
Crypto's,
Crypto.
crypto's tanking. Crypto's tanking. Everything is tanking. Here's why everything's tanking. People are starting to wake up. You have to believe in something for it to work.
Yeah.
And people are stopping the belief. They don't believe in their governments anymore. They don't believe anything that's told them. They don't even believe in the UFO disclosure. Nobody gives a shit. They did much too fast. Everybody got numb. And what happens is in your simulated reality, it likes it if everybody's kind of on the same page, takes less energy. When everybody goes boom in 10,000 directions, this place starts to glitch big time.
Yeah. I've kind of been fascinated about the whole UFO thing for a long time, but yeah, you're right. The kind of overload and it's kind of like overplaying it. It's like it's become much more obvious theater and it's kind of lost interest. But
Yeah.
yeah. And so I came to the
Most people don't
conclusion.
even care.
What's that?
Most people don't even care anymore. They're like, I don't give a shit. I'm worried about keeping my house. I can't even drive my car. I can't afford it between the insurances, the gas, and the upkeep. No, I don't make enough money to live anymore because of shrinkflation on everything. And then you're going to add, first, you're going to add in the Epstein files, and then you're going to add in the wars that they keep creating, and then you're going to add in UFOs. No, it's overload. It's
Yeah.
overload. It gets to where nobody gives a shit about anything. And they're like, I don't care. Leave me alone. And that's really bad when you're in a simulated reality because then that everybody goes off their own direction. This sim is using way too much energy trying to make everybody's life exactly the way they want it to be because everyone's going off the deep end because it's done deliberately. And they think that fear because they're trying to suck up all that loose now because they know their time is ending. This whole thing about the world ending, it already ended. That's the thing. It isn't going to end in 15 years or 20 years or 5 years. It already ended. We're in an ascension. And what we do with this ascension depends on the individual. Where do you find yourself tomorrow, today, this minute? Where do you stand? This has nothing to do with the masses. This has to do with Anubis weighing and measuring every one of us with a frequency because it is a part of the system. All these deities are a part of the damn AI system, the matrix system. That's what they are. And they're weighing and measuring us because of our frequency, where we land next. What will our reality be next? All these bad things are happening. You hear it in cyber world. Most of it's garbage. Some of it's real. And in the end, how are you handling it? How are you, the individual, handling it? Are you staying calm? Are you staying balanced? Is your frequency rising because of balance? Or are you going off the deep end?
Right.
Where do you lie in all of this?
And that's why it's always been. I mean, we haven't apparently, as far as we know from history, we haven't had internet technology to communicate around the world. So if you weren't doing what you were doing and nobody was really still communicating, like if it was still a high-tech world, but we didn't have this instant communication, it could still all happen on an individual level. You can still be enlightened and come to this understanding you don't need all that, right?
That's exactly true. You are a living library. Every energy being in an avatar, if you're there, is a living library. And we are starting to have the library open to us. There's your eight clear senses coming online. And no
Right.
one has to tell you anything. You just know. And all of a sudden you are resonating with this, that, this, that, this, that. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because you're the library, you know everything. You're an eternal energy being. You have lived forever. You're going to live forever. What do you actually know?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, interesting. So like the Avengers movie and whatnot, right? So like the analogy earlier about we're getting some supernatural abilities, or the X-Men, they had
Mhm.
genetic modifications. So I sometimes think in those kind of fantastical terms. But there's a certain process I would say you have to go. So you have to kind of wake up, you have to come to understand this stuff, and then you kind of got to grow up in your thinking and clean up, and then you can power up and become an Avenger, X-Men, and contribute to the whole in the end. I sometimes wonder, is there still a physical component to this? We're gonna have to get physical because we're gonna have to have those abilities to do that, because apparently they've got all the physical guns.
Here's the thing. Once you have hit a certain point and you can manifest with just the thought, this is why they're so afraid. I could think in just the next moment, disappear. You're gone.
Yeah, we need those kind of abilities because
You're
it's
gone.
I still think there'll be like a build up, and then there was 1776 and the American Revolution, and there's like a build up now, and a build up, a spiritual build up, and there'll be like some sort of spiritual 1776 moment, and we have to become those Avengers and use those powers, and like you say, go away.
Yep. Yeah. It's starting to happen now. There are people now, and I know this because of myself and my daughter and a couple of other people, where we're starting to think something, just think something, and something happens with a thought,
Yeah.
with a single thought. And it's like, huh, here's the thing. You have to be balanced, you have to be out of fear, and you have to have a certain frequency to be able to do these things. And when I say certain frequency, you can't do anything out of hate. The second you do, it drops your frequency. It's like a governor put on this stuff. So when you're thinking, I'm going to destroy all of you, boom, you've just dropped.
Well, I don't know. The Hulk was still quite an effective Avenger, and that's the way he got angry, and then he became this big hulking beast, right? But he had enough
Yeah,
sense to know at least who his Avenger friends were, and he goes smash everything
yeah.
else, right?
Now, the thing is that as soon as you drop into the lower frequencies of destroy, kill, maim, hurt, torture, I don't care how you do it, revenge, this stuff shuts down. It's got governors on it. It shuts down. This is why you have to be intelligent about it. Like if I wanted to get rid of my bad guys, I would think, you don't match a frequency, you just can't be here. Go away. You can't be here. We have bubbles of reality going on right now, huge bubbles to individual bubbles. And these bubbles are growing and they've been growing. And what happens is we're like beacons. And when you're a lighthouse, you know what can't handle light? The dark. And we're growing. And so when we put out our energy, we can overtake whole parts of our reality. And what it does is it pushes the negativity out because it high vibration runs like this, low vibration runs like this. This will destroy that. And when I say go to 5D, everything breaks down to nothing but thought. You break down to nothing but thought. And when you master thought, and I don't mean in low D, I mean in higher D, where you only have high intentions. You can change outcomes. You can change circumstances. You can change the world around you with just thought.
And if everything around you is a toroidal field around you, which is sort of like your
Yes.
universe, and there's some overlap, either when you're in close proximity or even just mental, there's that connection. There's an overlap of toroidal fields. But if I just focus on my toroidal field, basically what my physical senses, by physical
Mm-hmm.
and by spiritual senses can detect and operate within that the best to my ability to do the best I can with what I got where I am right here in my field, then that's like it's like changing the universe. People think, oh, it's
It
kind of
does.
goofy, but
Yeah.
change the
Here's what
world.
I always say. This out here around you, whatever it is, wherever you are, it does not matter, is a reflection of
Yeah,
this.
sure. I see that all the times in people and things they say and do, and like I do that. Oh, that's kind of jerky. Well, that's me. It's a reflection of a mirror back to myself to contemplate my own consciousness. I need to sort of work on that too. But yeah, no, we've been going almost another 40 minutes. We need to, I think we probably need to wrap things up. Great talking with you again,
Yes.
Sonia.
Oh, it was great talking to you again, Dennis, too. We'll have to do this again.
Sure, absolutely.
So,
So I'll
um,
stop the recording, or unless you have anything last thing you want to say.
everybody raise your vibration, stay out of fear, and tomorrow's another day. And see what you want in front of you. What do you want in your reality? Everybody needs to decide here and now, how do you want this to go? And determine for yourself, because when you determine for yourself, you've determined which road you go on.
Good, we're standing on. All right, so I'll close it down.